I sat down one day, and in 6 minutes, a song was born. This is the story of a broken man. You ever feel broken in life? Like things are falling apart, things aren't working. It's more than just your hot mess. You feel like things are never going to work. You're never going to measure up. Your confidence is at an all-time low. This song is for you, my friend. Welcome to Wild Songs. This is a creative space for the curious misfits. And this podcast is for Kingdom artists who want to go deeper than the formulaic Christian music out there. I'm your host, Kyle, and I've helped hundreds of Kingdom artists across the country dig deeper in their faith, their life, their music. And we've gone under the hood in my own personal works, shared insights about the creative process from a wildly different perspective than the industry bros out there trying to talk about trends and industry insider secrets. I'm not into that crap. So my friends, we're wrapping up the first season. This is the final episode of season 1 of Wild Songs.
It's called for a celebration.
And I just want to celebrate you. I'm so thankful for anyone who's taken the time to listen, to dig in, to sit in the darkness, to look at the lyrics, to crank up the speakers and blast these songs. Thank you. And for anyone who's commented or posted or written a review, thank you. And if you've shared this with friends, you've texted this, you've posted about it, I deeply appreciate you. You know, we're wrapping up this first season of Wild Songs, but the podcast is just beginning. So stick around because towards the end of this, I'm going to share with you what's in store for this next season. Well, let's dive in. Okay, so this whole season we've been talking about the ache, deep longings of the kingdom. And probably by now you're like, Kyle, I get it, the ache, okay. But we've looked from a lot of different angles, from the ache of time, to the ache of lost dreams, the ache of wrestling with God, the ache of ancient wisdom, the ache of intimacy, the ache of grieving and loss, the ache of the world falling apart, the ache of deeper connections, the ache of our political landscape, the ache of leaving a legacy, the ache of all creation groaning, and now, finally, the ache of brokenness. This song is a sequel to Straight as an Arrow. You might have remembered that as the second episode in this podcast, where I talk about this concept of being this weapon, this arrow that the master archer stretches back and lets that fly to its target. In this song, it's a sequel. It's a response to that theme, almost like that taking that pain of the dream that's gone to new depths. The arrow doesn't work. I'm broken. I'm a shell of who I once was. We've all experienced this. You know, if you've never read the book Things Fall Apart, I highly recommend it. But you see this progression, not only in books like that, in great literature, but also in history, in your own life story. Things fall apart in nature itself. There's a progression towards things breaking down and disintegrating and moving towards chaos. This is the ache we talked about last week, where all of creation groans with this reality of longing for something more. But before we go further with this thought, let's talk about how this song came about. If you're a songwriter and you've written more than 10 songs, you probably realized, man, songs can come in so many different ways. Some songs happen in a flurry of inspiration and emotions, and some songs can take weeks or months, maybe even years to work. This is an example of a song that musically I wrote in one take, unchanged, untouched, 6 minutes, the melody, the chords, the structure was all there. Here's the voice memo. It just came out the first time I sat down at the piano at my songwriting office when I first moved here to Michigan to teach. It was this subconscious stream of emotions and questions and wonder and hope. I think that's my new definition of humans. We're these streams of emotions and questions and wonder and hope. Let's go with that. But here's what I want to focus on. You don't have to be crazy inspired and be deeply motivated and in this emotional place to write a song. Like that's where beginning songwriters stay. They live and die by, feeling inspired. But the problem is they only write when they feel inspired. I want you to go way beyond that mode of creating. This goes into mastering the craft, When you've consistently made melodies and lyrics and chords and structures and themes and you can grasp the craft, it's like a language that just starts flowing out of you without you consciously heading in a certain direction sometimes. So the question is, okay, well, what do you do with these ideas? Like when something just flows out, it's there. How do you finish it? You know, for someone like me who does the music first, this could be how we get the lyrics to work, but it could also be for someone who has a page full of lyrics and you're trying to figure out the music. How do you get this stuff to the finish line? The way I like to think about it is like digging or unearthing. There's something that's being spoken, whether it's through the melody or the chord progression or through the lyrics. And we're trying to dig out what's really going on here. Like if I have all the music done and I go, shoot, what do I do for words? How do I put this into the language? I sit there with the music and I ask myself, what resonates? What could this really be about? And there's not one right answer, but I'm trying to feel like what resonates with. Is this past, present, future? Is this about someone else? Is this about me? Is this about relationships to nature, to God, to people? Is this about an experience that I had, a fun vacation that I took? I'm trying to sift through this stuff and test it out with the music playing. So for this song, what came pretty quickly was that, yeah, this is about me being broken. This is about me. You know, even in the mumblings of my voice in the voice memo, you can tell, man, I'm at a place where I don't have everything together. And there's a humility there, and there's a longing and a pain. And so I knew, okay, this is about me being vulnerable. So this goes into the concept of, okay, how do I bring those lyrics to life? I don't want to just say, I used to have everything together. So I'm going to couch that in language. Not long ago, I was a dangerous shadow on my enemy's path. Like I used to be a formidable weapon, something that my enemies were scared of. I was alive. I was free. I don't want to just say that. I want to use poetic language, metaphors, imagery. Not long ago, I was swallowed in the warmth of the afternoon, free as the birds floating in flight. And now my language is going to shift because now I'm at a new section. I'm at a pre-chorus. My melody's changing. So I'm going to stack this list. I've seen all the statues of men who touched glory. I've heard all the tales of battles and wars. I've walked through the mist as the morning air waits for the light. I'm setting up this picture where I know, I have experienced all this stuff. I know what it's like to taste these beautiful moments of glory and depth, but, and this is where the tone changes. This is where the chorus comes in. But the sun has set, and I'm a broken citizen, a warrior holding the confidence of arrows gone splintered and straying. In other words, I'm as confident as someone who has terrible arrows to work with. Like, I don't have what it takes. I'm at a low point. I am that broken arrow. Now, as I get to my next pre-chorus, sometimes you can fall into the trap of like, oh, I'm just going to do exactly what I did the last time. See, I'm going to start there, but I'm going to tweak stuff. Instead of just doing I've, I'm going to start with I've seen far enough to know what it takes, but I want to change my language so that we're moving towards something even deeper. And so I'm saying, I know what it takes for a man to lose heart, for his courage to break. Oh, how I carry the songs of these wild generations before me. This is actually how I got to the idea, the title for this whole podcast, Wild Songs. It comes from this line. Oh, how I carry the songs of these wild generations before me. There's longing. There are desires of my ancestors, of my family that have gone on for centuries, the human race. And I carry these songs. I carry these burdens. I carry this ache with me. But here I am. The sun has set and I'm a broken citizen, a warrior holding the confidence of arrows gone splintered and straying. My life, maybe your life at times has been splintered and straying. Like things are just not working. Hopefully you can see how I'm taking the music, I'm sitting in the emotions of it. But now when I do it right, when I get the lyrics right, they elevate the music. I feel like there's this locking in, there's this click that happens. And I know exactly what the song is saying. Like, this is who I am. So even though the song is dark and longing, it ends with this declaration that you'll hear that it alludes to a song in season 2 called Young Miracles. There's this seed, this core of the song that I can't wait for you to hear in the whole next season. It's about hope. Hope that something dormant or dead will grow and break through and become something full of life and vitality. Even though I'm a broken man, without confidence, there's something deeper going on. And I've decided in my core that even though I sit in despair, I'm not going to let it rule. It won't have a final word. Rather, I'll tend and nurture this little seed of hope, the faint glimmer that the story isn't over. This is part of why I call my business Cultivated. I help artists cultivate a lifestyle where they're tending to and nurturing and taking care of these little seeds of hope, these seeds of their calling, the seeds of creativity. My friends, this is what we're going to be exploring in season 2, the wild light of hope. You know, if there's one thing we've all been slapped in the face with as humans, it's this ache, this brokenness, this tension, this loss, this longing that we feel. But there's also something else that we've experienced as humans, hope. And it's weird, it's strange. It shouldn't show up in a naturalistic world, but it's a clue. It's a window. It's a signpost for us. Something else is going on with us. Something deeper than pain, deeper than death itself. I can't wait to explore this more because the songs you're going to experience in season 2 are going to stir something and awaken something in you. You know, I really can't wait. But for now, I hope this season we've started it right. You know, I've given you space to not stuff the pain away or swat at it or quickly move towards positive, encouraging K-love mentality, but actually feel, sit in it, grieve. Blessed are those who mourn. Allow yourself to acknowledge the deep longings and tensions that we feel in our faith, in our relationships, in our lives. And I hope these songs so far have helped you to make sense or even to bring forth these aches and these longings that are inside. So as always, I want to encourage you, keep drinking these songs in. I've said before, you may not like every song. Tastes differ, I get that. But I promise you, if you come along this journey and enter into these songs, you won't regret it. So I want to invite you to a new space. Shut off competing distractions. Put your headphones on, crank up the stereo. This song works especially well in the dark. Soak in these lyrics. I'm deeply grateful, my friends, that you've come along this journey and that you're continuing to show up and listen to this music. I pray that it touches you as it has touched me. Blessings.
Not long ago, I was a dangerous shadow on my enemy's path. Not long ago, I was swallowed in the warmth of the afternoon. Free as the birds, floating in flight. I've seen all the statues of men who touch glory. I've heard all the tales of battles and wars. I've walked through the mist as the morning air waits for the light. But the sun has set, and I am a broken citizen, a These old eyes never start alone. From the left to the right, these old eyes tried to find home. Blooming, I've seen far enough to know what it takes for a man to lose heart, for his courage to break. How I carry the songs of these wild generations before me. But the sun has set, and I am a broken citizen, a warrior holding the confidence of ours conscripted and strong.
Hey, if this song touched you, or any of the songs from season 1, I want to make a special plea with you to share this podcast. Guys, I obviously spend a lot of time producing these episodes, from the lighting to the filming to the editing involved. This isn't just a quick audio podcast. I chose for it to be video because I want to sit with you just as a friend might casually talk with you, but also for you to really engage with the lyrics on these songs. I don't make songs just for people to listen to. I spend a lot of time on lyrics for you to really engage with on a deep level, the music, and soak in what's going on with this wild mixture of words and sounds. Songs are a gift, and I hope you've been blessed with these little gifts. If you have, as we're preparing for the next season of this podcast, would you please do these things? With Wild Songs podcast, number 1, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. Number 2, rate this podcast both on Spotify and Apple. There's only a couple ratings, and I know a lot more of you are listening than are rating it. So just give it 5 stars and even write a comment. And number 3, this is the most important. Would you please consider making a post about how this podcast has affected you? Like a genuine, heartfelt social post or a text message to friends. It's so valuable. And it just boils down to this. If you've been blessed by this, who are the people in your life that could benefit from this? And now with my own songs, I've never tried to build a career or gain a ton of followers. That's just not something I feel called to do right now or have interest in. But I do want you to listen to my music. I do know these songs can move you. So please, number 1, subscribe to Kyle Novy Music. All the lyric videos from the podcast episodes are here. Number 2, click follow on Spotify or Apple Music, whatever streaming platform you use, and listen to these songs. You're going to have songs every week that are going to come on here. And then lastly, send one song to somebody. Just copy the link, send it to them. It's an easy way to encourage someone, to connect with them, say you're thinking about them. It's something as simple as, hey, thought of you when I heard this. I think you'll really like it. Friends, that's just a little connection point you can make with people. So please support this by sharing my music. I'll be gearing up for season 2, and I'd love to hear your feedback, your suggestions, your ideas. I can't wait to get beyond the ache and start exploring the wild light of hope. So much love, my friends, and we'll see you in season 2.